Your actions have changed the world.
Hello, and welcome back to the world of assassination and the subscriber contracts. And today's contract, Swamp Thing, set in Dartmoor. And the contract ID is up on the screen now for anyone who wishes to have a crack at it, and has been supplied to us today, courtesy of Paul Anderson 37. So on to our briefing, short and sweet. It's a hot summer, people want to cool down. So moving on to our targets, and today we have 5 of them. All must be eliminated in full accidents, 4 whilst disguised in our suit, and 1 as the Undertaker, and that is the Undertaker himself. So for today's challenge, we will be starting behind the mansion, and we will be bringing with us 2 melee items, in this case the wrench and the hammer, and my silenced pistol. So right from the start and off the bat, we need to make our way over to behind the greenhouse, where we will encounter 3 of our targets, 2 gardeners and 1 guard. So we're going to start with the gardeners, and we're just going to run past them here, keeping the hedges between us and them. We're going to select one of our melee items and throw it just in the center of the hedge there. We have time to retrieve that quickly before making our way around to the side, and when the gardener comes to investigate, we can make our way around the hedge, render him unconscious. We're going to leave him there for the time being, and then we're going to move on to his colleague, and we're just once again going to throw one of our melee items as a distraction. Now unfortunately this young lady doesn't go as I intend, and she's gone the long way round, and she will find her colleague. That doesn't matter, we're just going to render her unconscious as well. I'm going to pause here for dramatic effect while I work out whether losing my silent assassin is a bad thing or not. In this case it is not, as we can eliminate the target and regain it. So we're just going to retrieve our hammer or whatever melee item you've chosen, and we're going to wait here behind the hedge for the arrival of the guard in the distance there. We're just going to throw our hammer over by the plants near to the greenhouse. We're going to select our wrench, and when the guard comes over to investigate, we can then render him unconscious as well. So again, it doesn't matter if he spots you, as he will be eliminated. In this case he doesn't actually spot me because I wait for him to look to his right. So 3 targets now unconscious and under our control. We're going to retrieve his gun and everything we've collected, and then we're going to hide the guard behind a 3rd hedge. Now we're not done just yet, as all of these people have to be eliminated in accident falls, and the only place I can think of where we can do that is actually at the mansion itself. So we need to clear a path to that mansion. So first things first, we have 2 patrolling guards up and down this outer area, and we need to get rid of them. So we're going to drop the unconscious guard's gun in the path there, and that will get the attention of one of the 2 guards when they finally come along. They stop quite a few times on their routine. I think they have a number of places where they will stop, but this is the waiting around part of the mission, as we wait for one of them to spot the gun and take it away. That leaves his partner vulnerable, and we can then render him unconscious and take him out of the picture. So depending which guard spots the gun or not, we're going to pounce on his friend. Hopefully we can get this done without the first guard noticing. So we're going to give him a second or two to get a little way ahead. We're going to render our guard here unconscious without any tools or anything, just to make it that little bit quieter, and then hide his body in the tall grass here. So we're just going to basically now reset our trap once again, basically just to lure our second guard into a more favourable position. So we're just going to place the gun more visibly in the path there and await in the bushes for the return of the guard, and when he comes along he will spot that gun, and we can then get behind him nice and safely and render him unconscious. Once we have him unconscious, we can then deposit him in the tall grass along with his colleague, and our pathway to the mansion is almost clear. We have just one more annoying do-gooder to get rid of. So we're just going to make our way up to the hedge here, and we're just going to wait for the arrival of the final patrolling guard in this area, who also stops a couple of times in his rather short routine. But once he turns around from this position to walk off, we can then get behind him, render him unconscious. We're going to leave him right here out in the open, no one's going to spot him, and now we can return for our 3 targets. So we're going to make our way all the way back round. There are a couple of people we will need to avoid, but they are very easy to avoid. So we're just going to grab target number 1 here, and then we're going to drag them all the way back round. We're just going to cut through the bushes at this point here so that we avoid those 2 just in the maze area, and then we can continue on unabated completely to the mansion, and then up the stairs and quickly dump our target over the ledge. So we're going to rinse and repeat that for the other 2 unconscious targets before we move on to our final target. I'm going to spare you the several minutes of dragging, and we're just going to focus on the kills. So that's all 3 of them now taken care of. So our final 2 targets are over in the graveyard area. So we're going to make our way over there now. And there is a land bridge. We don't have to go through the main route. We're just going to take the land bridge across the moors here. And you can see on the right there is one of our targets. So we're just going to stop in the bushes briefly here to select a melee weapon. Let's see, what do we have? We'll use the wrench. We're going to make our way around the rocks and get behind our target and render him unconscious. There you go, sir. You've earned that nap. We're going to hide him just behind the rocks here for the time being. We'll come back for him shortly. So we're going to make our way up to the funeral area, and up here we will encounter our next target and another gardener. There is our next and final target, but we need to wait for him to leave the area so that we can deal with the gardener, who has just moved into a rather awkward position. But either way, we managed to get behind him without being spotted. We're going to render him unconscious and deposit him in the crate provided. Now we should have enough time to go and retrieve our gardener target and deposit him in the grave. So we just make our way back to where we deposited our gardener, or deposited, if I could talk, and we're just going to drag him in a nice wide circle so we avoid any enforcer activity, namely that young lady by the painting there. And we're just going to quickly get the gardener into the grave. Also be aware of that gentleman in the distance. And as long as he is in the distance, we should be fine to deposit our friend here into the grave. And that just leaves our final target. So we're just going to make our way back into this little annex here where we deposited our non-target gardener. And we're going to wait for the return of the funeral director, our final target, and when he goes and stands by the table we can then render him unconscious. So we're going to quickly sneak up behind him, render him unconscious. Mind your head on that table, mate. Oh well, never mind. We're going to quickly take his outfit, and then we're going to drag him and drop him into the grave as well. We're just going to wait for this guy to turn around, and while I was hyper focused on him, I forgot all about the patrolling guard who just happened to move into the perfect position to witness us drop our target. So we have lost our silent assassin rating after 20 minutes of dragging people around. So we're just going to take that loss. We've managed to eliminate all of our targets, so all that's left for us to do is to make good our escape. I forgot to collect the funeral director's hearse keys, so we can't use that as an exit unless we collect the spare set, which are just over by the hearse itself, just by the luggage here. So we're going to grab that and we're going to run before that guard realizes it was us he saw depositing the body. So there we go, one more subscriber contract taken care of. All of our targets were eliminated according to plan, but we did get one body spotted, which has cost us 1 star. I have been Anubis, and I will see you all in the next video.